Canberra for Cam's Mortgage Minute on Thursday, December 6th. Hey, I thought I'd share a few tips with you if you're a first-time home buyer. Just a few things to consider. I mean, you might have heard this before, but hey, it never hurts to hear things and often enough, and it just sinks in. First off, tip number one if you're a first-time home buyer and you're thinking of buying a house is buy the house you can afford. That's right. We all know that we all have a tendency as human beings to gravitate towards the nicest things, the most expensive things. They always somehow seem to look better than the other stuff. But the bottom line is, buy what you can afford and don't confuse the bank's budget with yours. A lot of people have a tendency when they go to a bank or a lending institution, the institution says, hey, you're approved for up to this much based on this. And people go, wow, I never thought of that. And they, suddenly they get ramped up on what they're going to buy. But the bottom line is stick to your budget, go in for the mortgage that you want to get, and go in for the type of house you want. Don't let the fact that you can get pre-approved for a lot more, approved for more, change that decision. Stick to your guns, and that's certainly going to be a better way to go. Also, now tip number two, when budgeting, consider some flexibility on your amortization, monthly expenses, and financial goals. I mean, the bottom line is nothing's going to be set in stone from the beginning. So you know that life's going to throw you little curveballs, little surprises, so make sure that you can certainly comfortably handle it and there is some wiggle room in your budget. A good way to go is that nowadays with the 25-year amortization being standard, and I know when I started in this business it was 40 years, what you can do is take those payments and you know what, if you can afford to, increase them for a while. The bottom line is more will be going towards principal, and if something comes along in your life that changes things again, you can basically reduce them again and be back at the original level you were. But for the time that you can afford to pay extra, do it. It's only going to help pay more of the principal off, and ultimately in the long run, it's going to save you a lot more money. The other thing is, it's a good idea to get a solid pre-approval. Take the time to do it. You'd be amazed at the number of people I encounter who say, hey, I went out shopping, I said, get pre-approved. Well, I just went to a website, I put in some numbers, and it told me I could do this. No, that doesn't work in this market. I'll tell you, with all the new rule changes and everything else, pre-approvals are more important, and not just a pre-approval as a glorified rate hold, but a true pre-approval where somebody actually goes through the process, looks at everything, does the due diligence, discusses things with you, options with you, goes through all the paperwork, gets you to gather up what's necessary. That is an actual, basically a solid pre-approval. You want to be ensured that what you're doing and what you're looking at is actually going to work at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. There's no point being out there looking at homes and suddenly finding when you go in that this isn't going to work, or there's some blip on your credit. And that's what a solid pre-approval process does, is it allows you to take a look at your credit, look at where the holes might be in your deal, look at what could possibly be potential problems, and address them prior to you finding that dream house and suddenly having to scramble at the 11th hour. And the bottom line is that, those are three tips that I'd share with you. And if a home or owning a home is important to you, then equally important, or actually more important once you own it, is the prioritizing it and paying it off. That's got to be it. Be committed to the mortgage, getting rid of it. That's a great thing. If I could tell any first-time home buyer, or well, basically anybody, make it a priority. If your goal is to pay that mortgage off, you're always going to find extra cash somewhere. Another great way is you take accelerated bi-weekly payments. There's taking advantage of lump sum payments, taking your tax refund. I mean, there's so many options. And that's what we do at Auxilium Mortgage, and that's what I do as Cam the Mortgage Man. I mean, we're here to share ideas with you. We're here to help you pay it off sooner. We have a plan that we follow with our clients. We have an annual renewal process plan and basically an evaluation plan. So if you're interested in any of these services, you need some additional help, you want to get a solid pre-approval, you want to kind of know the ropes, or if you're just new to purchasing a house and know very little and want somebody to talk to, give us a call. We're happy to help, and I will see you tomorrow.